Omowale Rupert, we discussed with you about reparations which Africa could get from the British colonialism. What do you claim?
I think the first point that I make is that reparations has no meaning outside the context of imperialism and anti-imperialism. And so for what we've got to do is we've got to give some sense of what imperialism is. Now, I'm just going to do it in a shorthand way. Imperialism is theft. That's what imperialism is in a nutshell. The imperialists go around the world, they steal from other people, particularly they steal the land of other people, and then they enslave the other people in their land. Now that's called colonialism in a nutshell. When the imperialists go, they heap war against you and steal your land.
But now African countries are formally independent, so land should be probably back to Africans or not?
Well, what we have is a funny situation in the history of Africa. We've had imperialism impose slavery onto us. We fought and defeated slavery. Then it imposed colonialism onto us when it mutated. We fought and we defeated colonialism. And now what we have is a new phase, neocolonialism, a new colonialism, where we on the surface appear to control our land, but in fact, economically, we do not have control. So we're now in a third phase of getting rid of neocolonialism. And in essence, it is the getting rid of neocolonialism that will be the reparations. So reparations is not limited to notions of money and payouts of money. Reparations is, as it says, it's about repairing, making good that which was made bad by imperialism. And so that's the task that we have in front of us.
How is the policy of immigration involved in all this context? I think about all the deportations of people, for example, from Nigeria or also from other African countries back to their country, from London in particular, but in general from the UK.
Well, you see, I started off by pointing out that imperialism is theft. And so when imperialism goes to people's lands and steals their wealth, it impoverishes the people because it's stealing that which is theirs. And then the people quite naturally follow their wealth. And so they try to go to the heart of imperialism, which is where their wealth is, in the belief that they can make themselves wealthy in the process. So we have an economic imperative for immigration, pulling people from our homelands, not just Africa, but all around the world that have been affected by imperialism, pulling from our homelands here into the metropolis, the center of the imperialist beast, the belly of the imperialist beast. So that's the kind of engine, or one of the engines, behind the notion, behind the whole thing around immigration. Now, then what you have is a sense of people in this country not wanting those whose wealth has been stolen to come into this nation and, in a sense, in a small way, reclaim their wealth. And so
I think that Britons are afraid of what immigrants could claim.
Well, this is what we get from right-wing Britons. It's not all British people that are so naive in their analysis, of course. But certainly on the right wing, there's this notion that somehow Africans and others who come here are coming here to steal their jobs. And they haven't understood that the reason that the Africans are coming here is because the wealth of the Africans has been stolen from Africa. And on an individual level, they're trying to seek some kind of personal reparations. Of course, reparations doesn't work on an individual level. It has to be on a mass level. It has to be for the masses of the people. But we can understand the motivation that causes individuals to come in pursuit of their wealth in order to enrich themselves and in order to be able to send remittances back home and hopefully make their family at home a little bit more comfortable in their living.
And what about African art? As I know, you went to the British Museum. For what?
Yes, I was part of a contingency of Africans based here in Britain who, I think it was in about 2008, we went to the British Museum to make our claim for the reparation of our arts there, the stolen arts. You see, in the British Museum, they're bold about their theft. What they do is they put a label on everything to tell you where they stole it from. And so you can see there's no denying it was stolen from Benin in Africa. And we went there and we put our case to them, and they were in a state of shock because nobody had come to them with this kind of claim before. They were certainly dazzled by it. Naturally, we didn't take it because we didn't have the means to protect our artwork at the time, but we put them on notice that a stronger contingent will be coming in future.
Let's make some examples of looted art.
Oh, the Benin bronzes is an obvious example. If you go to Kemet, ancient Egypt, all of the artwork, even the mummies, if you look at the coffins and the artwork and the inscriptions on the mummies, they rob in our graves, the graves of our ancestors. But if you look at those, the artwork is intricate. And when you think that they are thousands of years old, it says something. So it's innumerable. I mean, there's so much artwork that has actually been stolen from us. I mean, we'd be going for a long list of things,
Are African governments claiming this art?
Well, we do have, I think, a couple of examples. I think it was the Ethiopian government that sought some reparations from Britain and reclaimed one of the holy books, as I understand it. Now, the details are not in my head immediately as I speak. But I think the general thrust of your question is a correct one. That is that we have masses of wealth stored here, artistic wealth stored here in places like the British Museum. And there is not a resolute attempt by African governments to reclaim, take hold of that which is ours. Now, one of the reasons for that is that they are neocolonial governments. Their job is not to govern in the interests of the people on the land. That's not their job.
And the Nigerian government?
The Nigerian government is part of the problem. Yeah? Their job is not to look after the people. Their job is to oppress the people on behalf of imperialism to facilitate the theft of African resources. So right now, the Ogoni people, for instance, in the Delta region of Nigeria, they're sitting on top of oil, literally sitting on top of oil. And companies like Shell go in there to steal the oil. And then what they do is they pollute the environment.
Gas flaring, which is continuing.
This is all continuing right now. The people, if you look at the soil that they walk on, it's saturated with oil. They can no longer fish. The fish are dead because the oil has gone into the water. The people are dying because, again, the water is not pure. If you go for a walk, an oil pipe could just explode and you could find, and you just die. This has happened to children, just playing, and then an oil pipe just explodes and the children are incinerated. So you see, the government of Nigeria is facilitating this kind of genocidal activity against the people. So we cannot expect a government of that kind to make a forthright claim for that which is ours, those stolen things which are really ours.